Hello, girls and boys, and welcome now back to another video from King Jiffy Coats. That's right, it's your boy, it's your man, it's that guy that's sleeping in your closet every night and watching you sleep, because I really enjoy that. Anyway, today I'm going to be bringing you a fun little weird video that I don't know how true it is or how accurate it is to history, but I remember hearing this back in the day and I found it really interesting. And now there is some parts that are going to be covered in fact, and there's also a lot of rumors, speculation, and stuff. But I remember hearing this story back in the day and I just felt like the world needed to hear it too. Now, there is a comedian, my favorite comedian of all time, one of the kings, and his name is Richard Pryor. Actually, no, not one of the kings. He was the king of comedy. I don't think anybody's going to be here like, Richard Pryor wasn't that funny. He was kind of annoying. I will slap you in your gosh dang mouth. I'll give you one of these. I'll just slap and lick, slap and lick, slap and lick. And then your grandparents probably don't love you either. So nobody likes you. You suck if you don't like Richard Pryor. I'm just going to die on that hill right now. I'm going to die there. Sleep. Gone. You're a loser. Anyways, Richard Pryor was a king. I mean, he had a kind of a rocky start. I mean, his early life was insane. He was like, his grandma was like a prostitute, or not like a prostitute. She was like the leader of a prostitution ring. She was a pimp. His grandmother was a pimp. He had a rough upbringing. He was like living like this crazy rough lifestyle afterward. He started getting into comedy, got his breakout thing, what should have been his big moment in the spotlight on the Johnny Carson show. He jumps out there, he does this like some really nervous comedy, just like I'm standing behind this camera, really nervous always, just like shouting and vomiting all this word salad into your goddamn mouth. You better sit down like a good boy. You better sit down like a good boy so Papa King Jiffy can throw up right into your mouth. Anyways, so he had this his thing, and he gets up there, he's all nervous, and he basically does all of his bits just real cold, not very performative style like Richard Pryor that we know and love. And at the time, everybody was like, oh, so he's just a Bill Cosby knockoff. That's pretty lame and gay. We don't like that. Get the hell out of here, Richard Pryor. Your career is cooked. We don't need another Cosby. To be honest, in the day of our Lord, whatever the calendar says today, I have to say that I don't think anybody needs another Bill Cosby. Otherwise, the whole world would be asleep and tied to a bed somewhere getting plowed from the backside. Gross. Brother, you. Anyways, so Richard Pryor ended up honing his craft and becoming an absolute G when it came to standing up on the mic and talking about drugs, women, and being a chaos monster. The dude was absolutely hilarious. You jumped into a Richard Pryor set, you knew you were going to be walking out with some of the funniest bits you've ever heard. I remember watching just an hour of Richard Pryor sitting there, reading off of a notebook paper, and killing it harder than any comedian I've seen in like the last 10 years. But that brings us to what the real point of the video is. While Richard Pryor was out there just slapping some genitals out of the way and like becoming an absolute king, he also was doing the show called The Richard Pryor Show while also spending a lot of time in the comedy club over in LA. And at that time, there was another comedian who was kind of doing the rounds, doing the typical I'm up and coming, trying to be a guy comedian, and he would do a lot of improv and stuff, and it always annoyed Richard Pryor whenever he'd see a comedian or a group of comedians go up on stage at the comedy club and do improv. And now this is where I don't know if this is true, and I cannot remember where I heard this, but I like to believe this is true. And they're both dead, so what are they going to say about it? Anyways, so he was doing this improv, and Richard Pryor went to get up to leave, but this Robin Williams guy kept making him laugh so hard that he was about to get sober from crack cocaine use, which he desperately needed to do, but it only took him lighting himself on fire. But let's be real, it was the Oreos that made him catch on fire, not the crack cocaine. If the real ones know where I'm going with that, the fucking real ones, I will come out of under your bed and I will suck the soul out of your body. Anyways, so Richard Pryor had seen this guy. He was funny, he was quick on his feet, and he made him stay around for 2 hours even though he hated improv. And after that, he started like going with him to the Comedy Store, started spending more time with this weird privileged little white boy. Now, if you think, oh my god, he's saying white privilege, I hate you. No, Robin Williams was like an extremely privileged kid. He came from a family that was well off, complete opposite of Richard Pryor. The dude was sent to Juilliard. He was sent to Juilliard to to hone his craft at being an incredible presenter in the eyes of theater arts. The guy was classically trained in every sense of the word. He knew how to enunciate to the top raw when he presented Shakespeare. The guy was a genius when it came to that because his parents had the money to send him anywhere that he really wanted to. And after college, he really wanted to pursue comedy, and he really liked Richard Pryor. He thought Richard Pryor was like the king, which obviously he is. It's the GOAT, Richard Pryor. And the whole time, he started like crafting his own style mixed with something like a Richard Pryor, somebody who was a big influence on him. And this led to him and Richard becoming really good friends, which in turn, Richard had this skit show coming up that eventually would be ripped off by Dave Chappelle, which would initially then be ripped off from Key and Peele. Yes, of course they ripped each other off. I mean, if you thought Dave Chappelle was the original guy to do the I'm a funny comedian doing a skit show, let me break the news to you, brother. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real quick. You're wrong, jackass. Richard Pryor was the first one to do it. I mean, the dude would put out like 2 hours worth of skits, and the studio would be like, do you understand the polite society will take too much offense to this? We can't put this on national television. The white people will shoot blood out of their anuses and beat their children. And then the other people, the poor people, they won't like it either. And, I mean, what if everybody likes it though? That won't ever happen on our watch because we are national television super conglomerates or whatever. I don't know what they actually said. I just know that they cut the episodes that were supposed to be like 2 hours long down to about 30 minutes of only stuff that was like sanctioned okay. And Richard Pryor knew this was going to happen, so he would literally pad it out as long as possible, so the editors had to take twice as long to edit down these episodes, and the show only lasted about one season. The cool thing for Robin Williams was the fact that this was one of his first credits. One of his first big credits on his, like, IMDb. That didn't exist at the time, but on his, like, on television shit. This was finally breaking him into the industry, which eventually led to Happy Days, where he played an alien named Mork, and then eventually he did the show Mork and Mindy, and the rest is goddamn history. And that's like what we love him. I mean, like, if you don't know who Robin Williams is or Richard Pryor or any of these people, I do kind of have a little spite for you. But on the other end, I hope that you go out and take some time and learn who these people are, because I think they truly were hugely impactful on the comedy world in and of itself. And I really like the idea of in Richard Pryor's later life, you see he was suffering from MS, right? So he was in a wheelchair. His late sets, he would go up on stage in a wheelchair and perform the sets like an absolute goddamn G. He would just go up there and whap-a-da. Dude, he'd be whipping it, but not nay-naying, because he didn't have the balance to nay-nay. Just whipping it, really. He would just kind of wheelchair up there, and he would kill it. I mean, he was just a king in that regard. The guy had no give up in his body. And during this time, Robin Williams used to pick him up all the time, and they'd go watch movies together, they'd hang out, and their friendship really lasted from the beginning of Robin Williams' career all the way through his death. And it's really inspiring to think of a friendship that worked like that in entertainment, that was actually friendship and not just a bunch of fake losers trying to pretend they're friends so that the like Entertainment Weekly can like soy jack. They can just, oh my god, could you believe the stuff that happened with Richard Pryor and Robin Williams? No, these guys were actually friends, and I think that's really inspiring. I mean, I think about some of the friends I have and some of the stuff the people that I talk to, and it's like, how many friends do I have that are truly like that? And I know I have a few, but it's always nice to know that you have a few people in your corner that would be like, oh, you're in a wheelchair now, bro? Let's go watch the Avengers or whatever. I don't know. It's cool. I like the whole idea. Now, the only part that I don't know 100% is factual is what type of improv Robin Williams are doing, or if he was just doing stand-up on stage, and his stand-up was just kind of like pretty good for the time. So Richard Pryor was like, hey, brother, come get on my show. And you look up, one of the funniest things ever is Richard Pryor at the roast, or not Richard, Robin Williams at the roast of Richard Pryor. If you look that up, it's one of the funniest bits of all time. The guy had no chill, and I respect a comedian who does not give a single fuck. You know, they're out there to hone their craft, be as funny as humanly possible, and they're not afraid that some person might come up and be like, actually, that's not very funny. You know, that's not very funny. That's offensive to this and this. And it's like, shut the fuck up. You're a big pussy. You know that? You're a big pussy. Go back to hiding in your parents' basement and talking to the walls. You were really good at when you were talking to the walls because nobody gives a fuck about you. Your Twitter account is lame and gay, and I hate you. That's like, I hate that like comedy used to just like bust down the doors. They used to just bust down the doors and not give a single shit. And I respected that time in that era of comedy. It felt like it was more dangerous and more edge and a lot more to it. And the friendships that came out of it are actually inspiring. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to make this video. I know it's a little rambly and I'm a little bit chaos and I'm sweaty fat man in a bathroom yelling at you. But look at the walls. The walls are pretty. Look at those flowers. Those flowers are enough to make your grandmother ooze out of her vagina for me. Like, you see this and you see me presenting this to you, but your grandmother probably would hate the things I'm saying, but she would love the bathroom design. She would be like, oh my God, King Jiffy, how I love your bathroom design. It makes me quite wet in all the granny panties. But that's like, I'm in here sweating. I'm having as much fun as possible. I know these videos are chaos. I'm trying some new things, boys. This is me trying some new things, and I hope you like it. Make sure to leave me with a like, a subscribe. We need those things because we live in a different time era. This is this part right here. This is our improv lounge. This is our stand-up zone. This is where we live. If you want to be an entertainer in today's society, you can skip the Hollywood bullshit. You can skip all that shit and just hit the camera, go live, and like film in a higher definition than old TV used to be in. And we have the ability to do this at our goddamn fingertips. And the fact that we're doing it is awesome. And the fact that we live in a world where we can get paid to do this shit is awesome. And it makes me have a respect for what the grind that the people in the past had to go through, but it also makes me happy that I can be here, I can work a full-time job, I can have a family, and I won't have to go on tour and do all that other like lame shit. I'm sitting in like half retarded, drunk off my ass, waiting for my next bump so they can drag my dead ass on stage so I can tell somebody a couple funny jokes, and then they drag me back to the hotel room and slap me and inject me with stuff because my managers are like, hey buddy, you gotta get out on that stage. I'm glad I don't have to live that lifestyle. I'm glad I can just get fat eating like macaroni and cheese and playing with my daughter and then just fire up the camera. But this got really rambling. I love you all, and I'll catch you on the next one.